Hey there. So, you know that feeling when you finish a meal and suddenly realize you ate way more than you intended? Yeah, we've all been there. Today, I'm sharing the mindful eating tips that completely transformed my relationship with food. And honestly, they can help you stop overeating forever. We're talking about simple, practical strategies that work in real life, not some complicated diet plan. Stick around because by the end of this video, you'll have a toolkit that makes eating feel natural and satisfying again. Understanding why we overeat. Let's start with the real talk. Why do we overeat in the first place? Most people think it's just about willpower, but that's totally wrong. Research from Harvard shows that 95% of our eating decisions are made subconsciously. That means your brain is on autopilot most of the time when you're eating. Think about it. When was the last time you ate a meal without checking your phone, watching TV, or doing something else? Our brains are literally wired to eat mindlessly in our modern world. We're surrounded by distractions, and food companies spend billions making their products irresistible. So if you've been struggling with overeating, it's not your fault. You're fighting against biology and marketing psychology. But here's the good news. Once you understand how your brain works with food, you can use simple mindful eating tips to take back control. And trust me, it's way easier than you think. 20-minute rule that changes everything. Here's something that blew my mind when I first learned it. Your brain takes 20 minutes to register that you're full. 20 whole minutes. That's like enough time to watch 3 TikTok compilations and still be waiting for your fullness signals to kick in. This is huge for mindful eating. When you eat quickly, you're essentially eating blind. Your body hasn't had time to tell you, hey, we're good here. Studies from the University of Tokyo found that people who ate slowly consumed 10% fewer calories without even trying. So here's your first mindful eating tip. Set a timer for 20 minutes at the start of every meal. Your goal isn't to eat for the full 20 minutes, but to make sure you don't finish before then. Put your fork down between bites, chew thoroughly, and actually taste your food. This one change alone can reduce overeating by up to 40%. But timing isn't the only factor. There's something even more powerful we need to talk about: the power of the hunger scale. Most of us eat based on time, emotions, or just because food is there. But what if I told you there's a simple 1 to 10 scale that can revolutionize how you eat? Welcome to the hunger scale. Here's how it works. 1 is starving, 10 is uncomfortably stuffed, and 5 is neutral. The magic happens when you start eating at a 3 or 4, moderately hungry, and stop at a 6 or 7, satisfied but not full. This is the sweet spot for mindful eating. Before every meal, ask yourself, where am I on the hunger scale right now? Halfway through eating, check again. This simple awareness prevents that, oh no, I ate too much feeling, because you're staying connected to your body's actual signals. Research from Cornell University shows that people who use hunger awareness techniques eat 25% less on average. That's not dieting. That's just eating when you're actually hungry and stopping when you're satisfied. The crazy part is how quickly this becomes automatic once you practice it. Environmental design for mindful success. Okay, let's talk about something most people completely ignore: your eating environment. This is where mindful eating gets really practical and honestly kind of fun. First up, smaller plates and bowls. I know, it sounds too simple to work, but Cornell's Food Lab found that people eat 22% less when using smaller plates, and they feel just as satisfied. Your brain uses visual cues to determine portion sizes, so this is like hacking your own psychology. Next, create a designated eating space. No more eating standing up in the kitchen or in bed with Netflix. When you eat in the same place consistently, your brain starts associating that space with mindful, intentional eating. It's like training yourself to be present with food. And here's a weird but effective tip. Use your non-dominant hand occasionally. It forces you to slow down and pay attention. Plus, it makes eating feel like a fun little challenge instead of mindless consumption. Satisfied. Hey, if these mindful eating tips are helping you already, could you do me a quick favor? Just hit that like button. It really helps more people discover these strategies. And if you want more content like this, definitely subscribe and ring that notification bell. Trust me, we're just getting to the best part. The 3-bite rule. This next tip is probably my favorite because it's so simple yet incredibly effective. I call it the 3-bite rule, and it's perfect for dealing with cravings and emotional eating. Here's how it works. When you're craving something, let's say chocolate or chips, give yourself full permission to have it, but commit to eating just 3 mindful bites. Not 3 handfuls, not 3 pieces, but 3 intentional, slow, savoring bites. Pay attention to the texture, taste, temperature, everything. Most of the time, those 3 bites will completely satisfy the craving because you're actually experiencing the food instead of mindlessly consuming it. And if you still want more after 3 mindful bites, go for it. But usually you won't. This technique works because cravings are often about the experience, not the quantity. When you eat mindfully, a little goes a long way. I've seen people go from eating entire bags of chips to being satisfied with just a few, simply by applying this rule. But what about those times when emotions are driving your eating? Let's tackle that next. At the emotional eating versus physical hunger. Here's something that changed my entire relationship with food: learning to distinguish between emotional hunger and physical hunger. They feel completely different once you know what to look for. Physical hunger comes on gradually, can be satisfied with various foods, and stops when you're full. Emotional hunger hits suddenly, craves specific comfort foods, and often leads to eating past fullness, followed by guilt. The mindful eating approach to emotional hunger isn't to fight it or feel bad about it. Instead, pause and ask yourself, what am I really hungry for right now? Sometimes it's connection, sometimes it's stress relief, sometimes it's just boredom. Try this. When you feel the urge to eat but aren't physically hungry, set a timer for 10 minutes and do something nurturing for yourself first. Call a friend, take a walk, listen to music, whatever feels good. Often, the eating urge passes because you addressed the real need. And honestly, sometimes you'll still choose to eat emotionally, and that's totally okay. The difference is you're making a conscious choice instead of operating on autopilot. Building your mindful eating routine. Let's wrap up the practical stuff with how to actually implement these mindful eating tips in real life. Because let's be honest, knowing what to do and actually doing it consistently are 2 very different things. Start with 1 meal per day. Don't try to overhaul everything at once. Pick your easiest meal, maybe breakfast or lunch, and practice mindful eating just for that meal. Use the hunger scale, eat slowly, eliminate distractions, the whole deal. Create a pre-meal ritual. This could be 3 deep breaths, checking in with your hunger level, or simply setting an intention to eat mindfully. Rituals signal to your brain that you're transitioning into a different mode. Practice the 1-minute meditation before eating. Just sit quietly and notice how you're feeling, physically and emotionally. This creates awareness and helps you eat from a centered place rather than a stressed or distracted state. Remember, mindful eating isn't about perfection. Some meals you'll nail it, others you'll eat quickly while answering emails. The goal is progress, not perfection. All right, let's quickly recap the game-changing mindful eating tips we covered today. First, use the 20-minute rule to give your brain time to register fullness. Second, check in with your hunger scale before and during meals. Third, design your environment with smaller plates and distraction-free eating spaces. And finally, practice the 3-bite rule for cravings and learn to distinguish emotional from physical hunger. Here's my question for you. Which of these tips feels most doable for you to start with? Or do you have a different approach to mindful eating that's worked well? I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments. If this video helped you understand mindful eating better, definitely give it a like and subscribe for more practical wellness tips. And speaking of building healthy habits, next week I'm sharing the best apps and methods for tracking your habits, which pairs perfectly with these mindful eating strategies. You won't want to miss it.